Okay, so just to be clear, you have no argument to put forward about me being racist.
I never made that claim.
Okay, that's good. So you don't think I'm a racist? Do
I don't
you
have
think I'm
sufficient
a
enough reason to
racist?
think so. I just said I don't have sufficient enough reason to say so. I think you say racist
Okay.
shit, but I think it's as a meme now.
Okay, good. So you want to debate on the fundamental laws of logic? What specifically?
Yeah, that's cool. Fuck. Don't we still disagree on whether or not these are non-axiomatic truths?
On whether what are?
The laws
Like,
of thought.
you mean Aristotle's laws of logic?
Yeah, not
Okay.
the principle of sufficient reasoning.
You don't think they're
Because I
axiomatic?
No, I think they are axiomatic.
Yeah, I think they're axiomatic too. I don't know why I wouldn't think that. Do you not think that logic is fundamental and objective? Like, you don't think there are certain fundamental aspects of logic that are true by default?
No, I thought your contention originally was that these things are non-presuppositional. Or do you rather?
I don't
both
think
of
they're
these axiomatic
presuppositional.
truths? Okay, why?
Okay, so you're taking the position that they are presuppositional?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess it depends on what we mean by. What do you mean by presuppositional?
Like, as in you have to presuppose them that you can't, like, necessarily prove they're objective. That there could be a doubt to their existence that was legitimate.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe they're presuppositional.
Okay, do you know what the law of identity is? A equals A?
Yeah.
Okay. You understand that any argument that you put forward to refute A equals A would have to invoke it, right?
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay, therefore it's not presuppositional.
Okay.
Because there's no
is any
reasoning that you
argument I
could put
made-
forward to debunk its existence, and I can demonstrate to you that it does exist just by saying A equals A.
What if I were to tell you that it goes beyond any argument I would put forward or any argument you could put forward?
Then you would be arguing from ignorance, and I would be able to do the same thing to say that you were wrong.
Okay, do it.
I just did.
Okay, how?
You just said it comes from beyond our knowledge, okay? Well, there's also an argument out there that comes from beyond our knowledge that debunks that argument.
Okay, so it's possible that both cases could be true, yes?
No, it's not.
Okay, why not?
Because those equal out. There's a counter response.
Wait, so-
There's a counter response from outside of our knowledge to every response from outside of our knowledge. So we're left with only the things that we can know and can actually talk about, which demonstrates that it is objective.
Wait, so then I'm wondering now, how exactly do these invalidate each other's propositions?
Because they're
This is
equal
how
and opposite in
logic
every
works.
case.
Okay, but how does that cancel them out?
Because there's an oppositional rebuttal in every case.
But I'm asking you, how does this cancel them out?
By definition, I just told you how. There's always a
Okay, so
counter
you're appealing
argument
to
from beyond.
definitions, and
Okay,
you're yet again
if you're
presupposing
saying,
that definitions
are you
come from-
claiming now that there is an argument from beyond our knowledge that is irrefutable?
I'm saying that I have epistemic humility, right?
You have
And
what,
so
sir? You
you
cut
think-
out.
Is my internet good?
You're kind of clipping a bit. Repeat that.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes. I can't hear you now if you're saying something.
Okay, there we go. What about now?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm saying that I say we have epistemic humility, right?
What do you mean by epistemic humility?
I think that our knowledge is potentially flawed. That is not to say it is necessarily flawed, but that is to say it's potentially flawed. And I accept the
Okay,
possibility.
why
that I
is
am
it
wrong.
flawed? Why is this particular knowledge
I
flawed?
said it is possibly flawed.
Okay, I don't care about possibly. It's possibly not flawed as
Wait,
well.
wait, no. You actually should care about whether it's possibly
Why?
flawed, though. Because if it is possibly flawed, then you have to presuppose that the other possibility that is flawed as infinitesimal
No,
as it may
because
be.
that is equaled
Correct.
out by the possibility that is not flawed. Again, it's the same.
This doesn't
you're
work
making
in
the same
classical
argument.
logic.
You're
Classic
making-
logic does not create
okay,
invalidating
You're making the
propositions.
same. You're making the same argument again.
Can you
you're saying,
demonstrate
you're saying
to me that this
what
is
you're
a
saying.
valid
Okay,
proposition?
can you
I want to hear
demonstrate?
this real quick.
Trini.
No.
How
How
you're gonna
does
move
this
on
as
to a new point
valid
now. I'm trying to
argument-
address the original point.
Well, I'm getting to the roots of even what you're saying. in terms
Okay,
of
go
pure
ahead.
logic. How do you validly argue that this invalidates another proposition.
Okay. Can you demonstrate that the possibility that it is not true exists?
You didn't answer. You didn't answer.
Okay, because you did move on to a new point. Okay.
This isn't a new point. This is rather the fundamental point.
A second ago, you claimed that there is the possibility that it's not true, right?
Uh-huh.
Can you demonstrate that there's a possibility it's not true?
Yeah.
Do it.
The fact that we have limited knowledge.
Why does that mean it's possibly not true?
Because epistemology is self-verifying.
Okay, that doesn't matter. It's true outside of epistemology.
What do
it's
you
true
mean
outside. It's true outside of knowledge.
What does that? Wait. What does that mean?
Because what does that mean? In order to have epistemology, you have to have the law of identity to begin with.
No. That's a
yes.
Okay. Well, how would you epistemologically determine that? How would you logically?
Wouldn't. I just said it's outside of epistemology. You're making it sound like it's dependent. Okay, epistemology.
Well, because
is
almost all of philosophy is dependent on one another in terms of fields.
Yeah, not this particular one.
Okay, why?
Because it's self-perpetuating. It's axiomatic.
Okay, so
it's truly
when you say is axiomatic, what does that mean?
Self-evident, true by itself, does not require support. However.
Okay, so then you have to presuppose it.
Why?
For something to be a self-evident truth, that means you have to be able to self-verify it through your epistemology.
Why do I have to just use epistemology?
Well, this is how we gather knowledge. This is
no, it isn't. No, it isn't. Epistemology is the philosophical topic of discussing where knowledge comes from. I'm saying that this would predate the idea that is what epistemology is. It's the source of knowledge.
No, this is not what the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy says.
Okay, let's look it up.
This is not what Oxford or Cambridge says.
The theory of knowledge, especially with regards to its methods, validity, and scope, and the distinction between justified belief and opinion. Okay. Even with this definition, the law of identity still comes first.
Okay. So you notice you dropped your original point of what epistemology is.
It doesn't matter. Either way, it's the case.
Yeah, you dropped it.
I could easily find another definition that says that. There's just no need to stick to it.
Do it right now.
I don't care to. Right now. That's not the debate topic. It doesn't matter.
Drop that point. That is okay. That's the first point.
I literally did just drop it. I said it's irrelevant.
That's okay. You dropped a point. Continue.
Okay, it's irrelevant.
Uh-huh.
Never mind all the points you already dropped.
Okay, what points did I drop?
You have to demonstrate this possibility exists now.
You just made a knowledge claim. What points did I drop?
Okay, you dropped several points earlier in the debate that I didn't harp on, like the one about possibility, which I'm still waiting for you to answer.
Well, okay, so this is what I said, right? And correct me if I'm wrong about this, because my memory is probably going to be a little hazy. I'm tired. But what I said was, if it is the case that our epistemology is self-verifying, or that any knowledge we can gather is self-verifying, then there necessarily has to be a limitation to what we can gather. Or maybe not necessarily, rather, but what I'm trying to say is we have limitations to what we can gather.
It's a little bit different to that, because I'm not looking at my knowledge and I'm saying my knowledge says this. I'm saying that I'm looking at my knowledge and I'm saying any amount of this, it doesn't matter what it is, how accurate it is, anything. The fact it exists at all means I have to have the law of identity.
You're presupposing anything exists, though.
Why? How am I presupposing anything exists? I know that something must exist, right?
How do you know anything exists? Okay. Well, how do you know this?
Because I have thoughts and feelings, and even if they're not true, they still exist on some level.
By what measure, by what standard do you know this?
By the standard that I'm experiencing them right now. It's obviously not something I can prove to you, but that doesn't matter.
No, I'm just saying, not like externally, obviously you can't prove it, but I mean internally. Yeah. How would you prove this?
What do you mean? The proof is that it's occurring at all.
Well, how is this proof?
Do you think I'm not having thoughts? Are you having thoughts?
Well, you're asking me about something external. We're
okay, well, assume that you're me for a second and that I'm you, whatever. We share thoughts, okay? We're thinking, what situation would there be?
That's self-verifying epistemology. You're asking what I think. You're asking what I believe.
Okay,
I'm asking, how do you
let's say we're in this situation now, right? Or not in this situation because we don't know the situation exists. What explanation can you have for it not existing?
You're reasoning either abductively or inductively. I'm asking you to deductively demonstrate.
So you can't come up with any reason why it wouldn't exist.
Well, actually, I could, and this is a very bullshit. Sure. So is it not the case that if something was omnipotent, it could defy everything we've come to know about, say, the law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, the law of
Well, if
excluding
something was omnipotent, the law of identity would be true by default anyway, because it would contain it.
How?
Because it's boundless, so that means it would have to include a realm where the law of identity was true.
Okay, no, I mean actually omnipotent. It literally could not be
that's what an
bounded by
omnipotent
anything.
is, a boundless.
Yeah, it's something boundless. I agree.
Yeah, so it would
then
contain
how
the law of
exactly would it
identity by
hold to the law of
default.
identity? Well, then you're saying logic is above omnipotence.
No, I'm just saying that even if there wasn't omnipotent, it would still be true because it would still contain it.
But you're telling me now that something that's truly omnipotent is now bound by logic. This
No,
is a
it's
problem
not bound by logic.
philosophers have.
The fact of its existence at all would contain it by default.
If it can't break the law of identity, is it bound by logic?
Okay, it's
Yes.
not about whether it breaks it or not. It contains a realm where it's true.
Well, it's similar to the stone
it would-
paradox.
yeah,
if it
the
cannot
stone
change the law of
paradox is
identity, it is not truly omnipotent.
You agree that the stone paradox is broken by transduality, right? Like that fixes
Yeah.
it? Okay, so it transdually fixes the axiomatic problem.
But I'm asking now, though, how exactly do you know this? Because it's a knowledge claim for you to say that I know.
You're shifting the burden of
the law
proof
of-
again, because you're claiming there's a possibility it's not true without presenting an argument for why it's not actually true.
Well, this is my argument. I've already said it before.
No, you're asking
We
me
have
for
a
evidence
self-
of something. You have
Sure,
to
sure, sure.
demonstrate it.
Dude, I'm telling you, we have a self-verifying epistemology, right?
Okay, I already responded to this and you had no rebuttal.
Wait, do you agree? Yes or no?
I already responded to this and you didn't have a
I'm
rebuttal.
just asking yes or I'm asking yes or no. Do you agree that we have self-verifying epistemology?
Not necessarily. I don't care to agree to that. It doesn't matter.
Well, it does matter because
It doesn't
we're
matter
talking
because
about
you
a
have the
knowledge.
obligation to prove
Okay,
that
do
there is a
you
possibility
know that the law
it's
of
not
identity
true.
holds? Do you know that the law of identity
Yes.
holds? Okay,
I know that it
Then-
exists, yes.
okay.
Well,
Well,
it's beyond
two things, then.
existence even, but...
Sure. No, what I'm asking, though, is do we have self-verifying epistemology? I don't know if you
I don't have to
understand the
answer
question.
that question. It's irrelevant. You
If
have
you
to
don't have to
demonstrate that the
answer,
possibility
if
is
you don't
not
have to
case.
answer, you're particularly evasive towards a question.
Why?
that's-
It's irrelevant. You have burden of proof
It
right
is-
now, and you can't
Okay,
prove
you were
it.
making a knowledge claim. Parrot, what
I
field of
substantiated
study?
my knowledge claim.
What field of study do we use to determine knowledge? Epistemology, correct?
Yes. I
Then if you were making
substantiated
a
my
knowledge claim, if you are making a knowledge claim, then you necessarily have to rely on your
I
self-verifying
substantiated
epistemology.
my knowledge
But you-
claim.
The fact that you would even have to substantiate it itself doesn't matter. You have a
Okay,
self-verifying
so you're-
epistemology.
Is it
How do you
self-verifying?
know
Is
what
it
you don't know?
self-verifying?
No, I'm asking you, Parrot. How
Is
do you
it
know what you don't know?
self-verifying?
How do you know what you do not know?
I don't know what
How do you
I
know
don't
this?
know.
Okay, so how the fuck would you know
I
what
already-
exactly exists beyond your
I
self-verifying
already
epistemology?
responded to that. I already responded
Then
to
how,
that.
then how would you know what is beyond your self-verifying
I already
epistemology?
provided a debunk for that
Then
argument.
provide it one more time and we'll go
Okay.
over it.
To say that there is the possibility that an argument exists outside of my knowledge that would debunk it is similarly debunked by the argument that an argument exists outside of your and my knowledge that would debunk that
Classic
argument.
logic does not function such that
Okay,
propositions
you're now
can
you're just
validate each other.
now you're just reinforcing an now you're just appealing to an authority. Why is what I just said wrong?
Because the way you were making an argument, well, you know about the basics of logic, right? Like the whole fucking predicate logic
Okay,
shit, right?
just to be clear, the only
Wait.
law I actually believe is truly axiomatic, as in self-supporting, is the law of identity. I don't have to accept any other laws of logic.
Sure. No, but I'm asking though, you're familiar with predicate logic, no?
What do you mean? No, I'm not. Not with that terminology, certainly.
No, it's okay. No, the basic idea I'm just trying to get across, right, is that when you set up arguments or specifically a set of propositions such that there's a chief proposition and supporting propositions, they do not directly invalidate other ones. The reason for this is because just because something is logically valid does not necessarily entail determining the truth value of a statement, right?
Okay,
and this
so
is
if that's the case, then you saying that
Mhm.
there's something that that exists outside of my knowledge that would demonstrate I was wrong would also be incorrect in that case. It wouldn't be a debunk, right?
No, what I'm saying, right, is, and these are my main premises, and if you have problems with these premises, we can go over the premises. But my
If you're
first
gonna
premise
if you're gonna
is,
like presuppose certain laws of logic, I don't have to accept. Bear in mind that you're then gonna have to demonstrate their objective, which would debunk yourself.
I don't have to demonstrate their objective.
Well, you would if you're using them, because I don't have to accept them,
No.
and then you would. Be
You don't have to
presupposing
accept them. You don't have to. Of course, I'm presupposing them.
Okay.
I believe that epistemology is self-verifying them. I think we can create truths that are as probabilistic and as close to true as possible. And while we may not necessarily be at the level of truth of being completely certain, I think we can get to such a point that it's pretty good.
Okay, well that's
I'd say
cute,
so,
but I already presented a debunk for that.
But
that you
going
haven't
back,
responded to yet.
so this is what I was saying, right? And this is why I was asking about
Your
predicate
argument
logic.
is dependent upon this fact that it's possibly incorrect, which I'm still waiting for you to actually prove.
Well, there are two things, right? So the first one is you cannot necessarily invalidate the argument I've set forward by simply giving another argument. The
I
argument
did, though,
itself,
but I'm doing that.
That's not how it functions in
Too
logic.
bad, I'm doing it.
Okay, too bad you're doing it as an argument, Parrot.
Yes, it is. You didn't. You're just
Okay,
saying
prove
that
that's
I
an
can't.
argument. You
You're
just
just
made a
saying.
second knowledge
You're
claim.
just saying
Prove
I
that
can't
knowledge
do
claim.
that
Can you
based on nothing.
prove that knowledge claim? No, I'm
Okay.
basing this on the works of Copy. I am basing this on the works.
Okay, I don't care.
people
Arguments
like
from
Popper.
authority. Don't care.
These aren't arguments from authority. I'm talking about logicians.
You're appealing to their authority and saying that's why it's correct.
I have explained to you exactly why they are correct.
No, you didn't. You never explained why that was a valid response to what I said.
Okay.
If
I
you
specifically here. Listen closely, and I'll explain it one more time. Maybe you'll get it the second time. If you set up an argument, even if it is valid, this says nothing of its truth value. If it says nothing of its truth value, it cannot necessarily determine the incorrectness or the correctness of another fucking argument. Simply validity does not. It's. I said this twice.
It's still ad nauseum.
Okay, go ahead and
because
disprove it.
I responded to this already. Okay. So if you're saying that its truth value is independent from its logical validity, right, is irrelevant, because I demonstrated that it was true as well. Your response to that was to say that there could be an argument outside of your knowledge that proves that that's incorrect, okay? If that's the case, then it's equally valid for me to say the same thing for that exact argument.
Do you mean valid in the rigorous philosophy term, or do you mean
just
valid
being
as in
colloquial.
true? Okay, that's fine. No, even if it is equally true, then you have to admit to the possibility that I could be correct in saying that it is not
It wouldn't be a possibility, though, because it's cancelled out by my
You
rebuttal.
just said they had an
outside of
equal
knowledge.
chance. Wait, do they have an equal validity or not? Because if not, you're going back on your statement.
Okay,
one more
they
time.
are. Yeah, they are equally true. Yes.
Okay, so if they have an equal, are you saying equally true or equally likelihood of, or an equal likelihood of being true?
They are. They
Which one do you
both
mean?
have the same amount of worth. Let's say that, shall we?
Do you mean in relation to truth value? That this
Yes,
is very important.
Determining whether something is valid or logically correct or true. All
Okay.
of those things.
These
They
are
would be
all
both-
very different
It's the
things,
same
but
argument.
that's okay.
Yeah, but they're both identical arguments.
If they
so they're
all have an
identical in
equal
every way.
likelihood of being correct, then I can be correct, even if you presume that you're.
You're
Okay, then why?
misunderstanding. No, you're misunderstanding. That the likelihood of your rebuttal, right, actually being the case, the one outside of knowledge, refuting the law of identity, is zero. Because
Okay, prove that.
yeah, because I can just state that there is an equally valid rebuttal to that uses that has the same validity, but is more true because it debunks that one, right? And it's outside of our knowledge. So
And it is also the case that you could be wrong, and it is also the case that I could be wrong.
it wouldn't. It wouldn't be the case that. That's
Okay,
not the
why would
case.
it not be the case?
I just demonstrated why. Okay.
You just told me you could give me a counter position, but you have to
Yes,
understand
it
that you
exists
can
outside
provide.
of our knowledge.
Yes. But you could provide a fucking negation to either one of these
exists
statements,
outside of our
which
knowledge.
means that each one
Yes,
still
it
exists as a
exists.
possibility.
It exists outside of our knowledge.
Then,
and it
Parrot,
completely
how do you
rebuts
know
it.
what you do not know?
How do you know
You've
what you
still
do
yet-
not know?
I don't claim to.
You just did. You're using it as an argument. You're saying that there's something outside of our knowledge that refutes me.
No, what I said was
If you do
I
not know what you do
understand
not know, you
that
can't use
I
that
may
as
be
an
correct.
argument.
No. What I said was I understand that I may be correct, but I also could be correct, which means that one of these two options is likely to be right. Yeah.
No.
And if
No, it's based
Okay.
on nothing. It's not based on anything.
well, go ahead and explain to me the difference between conceivable possibility, logical possibility, and pure possibility. I'll wait.
Why? I never made that distinction.
Well, it's
That's
an important
completely
distinction.
irrelevant. That's completely irrelevant. Why do you keep asking me to make claims when you're the one that still has burden of proof?
Well, I just explained to you in predicate logic.
No,
but
you didn't. You
get
didn't
it.
demonstrate any level of evidence for what you're claiming. You haven't demonstrated a possibility
What I
or an
said
argument that refutes what I'm
specifically
saying.
was that even if your argument is valid, and I mean valid here isn't if all your premises are true,
Yeah,
then
I
the
know what you mean,
conclusion
yeah.
would necessarily follow. That does not invalidate another argument. And the reason it does not invalidate another argument is because validity is not a determinant of truth value.
Okay, that's irrelevant though, because you would have
that is completely relevant.
I'll
You cannot
I'll
invalidate
explain.
my argument by simply giving me an argument. You have to explain to me through epistemology. If you're explaining it to me through epistemology, Parrot, then you have to explain to me
epistemology,
how
so I don't have to.
No, I used logic, and I'm saying
you didn't. You're arguing from a position you don't know.
No, okay, listen, buddy. I'm saying that if we cannot use logic to determine truth value, what study do we have to use? We know that it is epistemology. If we have to use epistemology,
you're not using epistemology.
So you're being hypocritical. We know that epistemology is self-verification. At its utmost level, it is a matter of self-verification.
This is ad nauseum again. Okay.
I'm setting up premises. If you think premises are just ad nauseum, maybe you're a bit silly. But I'm asking. I
started with a premise, and you presented a debunk.
Epistemology is a matter of self-verification. Then how exactly do you self-verify something that is beyond your knowledge?
Okay, so you're shifting burden of proof again. You're claiming that you're using epistemology, and
even if I am.
Okay, you are.
Can you explain? Even if I am.
I'm not obligated to. Right? I'm not obligated to. I'm not obligated to answer
You're
this
not obligated
question.
to win either. You're not obligated to win.
I am currently winning due to burden of rejoinder.
If you think I don't give a fuck, dude. I'm asking you
I'm
right
glad
now,
you agree that you lose.
If epistemology is self-verifying, then how can you verify something that cannot be contained by yourself?
Okay,
how do you know?
Irrelevant until you can demonstrate that
how
the possibility
do you know
exists
what you
that what
don't
I'm
know,
saying
Parrot?
Is untrue.
Parrot, how do you know what you don't know? How do you know this?
I already went over why that doesn't matter. I've already responded.
It does
to this
matter.
numerous
How
times.
do you know what you don't know? How do you know the pure possibility of everything?
Okay, you
how
didn't
are you able to do
my
this?
initial.
I'm asking, how do you know?
You didn't
how do you know what you don't
to
know?
my initial rebuttal.
Parrot, how do you know what you don't know?
You never responded to my initial rebuttal.
Yourself? Okay, I'm asking, how do you know what you do not know?
Do
you know what you don't know?
This is ad nauseum.
Oh, you don't care, then answer.
You never responded to my initial rebuttal.
Okay, what's your initial rebuttal? But real quick, before I answer, how do you know what you don't know?
You don't remember what my rebuttal is?
No, I was wondering still how you know what you don't know.
So you agree that everything that you just said wasn't a valid response then?
How do you know what you don't know, Parrot? I'm still waiting on this.
Okay, so you're still committing ad nauseum.
Dude, I'm asking because you've yet to give an answer.
I don't care about you asking me something
you don't
when
care.
you haven't defeated my
That's
position.
not an answer. That's
you
not
haven't
an answer.
defeated my position.
Put it to you this way. Put it to you this way, right? Afterwards, I will answer your question, okay? But I'm asking just right now.
There's nothing about you answering a question.
Can you know what you do not know?
Trini, it's not about you answering the question.
Can you know what you do not know,
You have burden of proof.
Parrot, I'm saying there's a problem with self-verifying epistemology.
I responded to this question numerous times already. I've already given you my answer and my response.
Okay, so give the answer one more time.
Why?
Because I want to know if you actually get it. Because so far you failed. No, you haven't.
I already defeated you on this line of logic.
Okay, then tell me, what is knowledge, Parrot?
What is knowledge? To know things, to observe things, to be a part of your perception.
Can you explain to me what happens with Gettier's problem? Can you ask me with Gettier's problem? I'm just making sure, but it seems like you just don't have the philosophy background you thought you did.
Okay, but, so when are you gonna when are you gonna present this evidence?
Yeah, I'm not gonna respect you anytime soon, buddy. If that's what you're asking.
That's fine. You don't have to respect me. When are you gonna present?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not trying to be mean. You've been nice so far. No, I'm saying that I can't provide you evidence because I don't know what I can't know what I don't know, right?
Okay.
What I do know.
You can't.
What I do know.
You can't appeal to what you don't know as an argument, then.
Yes, you can.
Why? If you can do it, I can do it, right?
You can, but even if we do that, we can make some inferences about things we don't know.
Okay, so go ahead and make your argument from something you don't know, and I'll respond to it, and we'll go through it.
Sure. Here's something on something I don't know.
That
I
actually
don't know about
my
things.
Position. That actually debunks my position.
Yeah, you had to add that little caveat. That's okay. I don't know things about things that I don't know. I know that much, right? That's a statement speaking to things that I do not know.
But do you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. The way you can verify this, by the way, is literally just knowing what the definition of knowledge is. Knowledge is true and justified belief, right? And if I can't justify something that I don't know.
That's a bit of a vague definition, but sure.
This is the common textbook definition, any philosophy textbook. If you want to get into why it's true, we can talk about Gettier's problem.
We're talking about things much more fundamental than that anyway, but go ahead.
Well, it's important to epistemology because for you to determine either of these statements to be true or false, you have to use epistemology.
Okay. I'm waiting for you to actually make the argument I asked you to make.
Which argument do you want to know? Because I've ran a few by you, but
you haven't actually presented any arguments. You just keep asking me questions. The argument I'm asking you to present is the one that exists outside of your knowledge that debunks what I'm saying.
Possibility.
Okay. Possibility may possibly not exist.
That is true. That is a possibility.
Okay, so then that means it's wrong.
No. I noticed you had a slip up there. You're gonna say there's an equal likelihood of you being wrong.
No, yeah, I wasn't going to say that.
You were going to say. Then why did you start off with equal?
Because it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter which way I say it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Whatever. So I want to know then. Or would you rather ask another question? I don't want to make you feel like you're just answering questions.
You still have to fulfill your burden of proof. I just defeated that particular argument, so...
You didn't. You stuttered, and you were going to admit there was an equal probability.
Stuttering does not mean I didn't...
Stuttering and using a word that would literally imply my argument and give me the W is not just stuttering.
Okay, that doesn't mean you won the point. I phrased it correctly.
It means you nearly conceded, Doug.
No, it doesn't. It wouldn't have been a concession either way. I explained that already.
If you literally concede there's an equal likelihood of us being fucking right, then that would literally mean
I wasn't going to say equal likelihood.
Exists.
I was going to say equally valid or true.
Oh, so they could be equally true. Oh, okay, I was just making sure. So then basically an equal possibility.
No, not an equal possibility.
Okay, so what does it mean to be equally true?
Imagine this in an actual logical format, right? You've got your argument on one side.
And predicate logic, or what kind of logic? Or like first order?
On one side, we have your argument from outside of knowledge, correct? And on the other side, we have my argument from outside of knowledge. They cancel each other out. Now all we have left is what we actually know.
Okay, this is why I keep talking about predicate logic, by the way. This is why it's necessary. And I'm not trying to harp on you too hard because I know
predicate logic is dependent on the law of identity.
Even if this is the case, which it is.
Okay, so to invoke it would be to concede. Hold on.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes, it would, because if the law of identity is not certain, then your argument isn't certain either, which would also make you wrong.
Well, yeah, I don't believe logic is certain. I mean, I can send you a paper showing that the things we have claimed to know about the characteristics of logic aren't true.
Even if I steelmanned you to the utmost degree, right, and I agreed with all those things, you would still be more wrong than me, because there's the possibility that you could be wrong, and there is no possibility that I could be wrong.
Okay, wait, if there's a possibility that I could be wrong, then the negation must exist.
That there is no possibility that you could be wrong would be the negation.
No, the negation would still exist as a possibility.
Oh, it's negation?
It's negation, yes.
Okay, why does that help you? That doesn't help you.
Its negation would be that I'm right, because truth is binary, Parrot.
Oh my god. That's not the negation of that claim, but okay, let's say that it is.
Okay, what would the negation of me be?
Let's say that it is. That's completely
ignoring... It would be that I'm wrong,
That's completely
If
ignoring...
I were to say I was wrong, and we were to set this up, and you could attribute either truth value to it, it's either true or false. So if it is not true that I am wrong, then it is false that I am wrong, which would mean that it is the case that I am right. That is the negation.
Okay, and
correct?
You just completely dodged what I actually said.
No, you made a point, and I'm correcting you. Okay, no, what was your overall point? I'm sorry.
Okay, the way you phrased it initially...
I'm sorry, that was the negation?
The way that you phrased it initially was incorrect. I understand what you're saying right now, so it's fine, but the way you said it originally was incorrect. So...
Okay, how did I say it originally?
You didn't actually respond to my claim. You said that you were talking about the probability of the claim, and since you led with the possibility, probability, either way, the possibility of the claim, so... in negation of that would be that there is no possibility of it. That's a valid negation, not necessarily
of me being wrong.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, that is a valid negation.
What do you think is? No, I'm talking about direct negation, Parrot.
Okay, so that just means that's what I'm saying. You didn't clarify properly. That's all I was asking.
Well, I'm speaking in terms of pure logic
you didn't
right?
respond to my argument anyway. So it
actually
wasn't
I did. What I told you was, if it is the case that I could even be wrong, right?
Yes.
And this could even be probably the case. I'll give you that
Yeah.
much, right? There exists the possibility that I am right. The fact that you could posit that I am incorrect means that there are one of two options here.
Okay.
Either I am correct, or the claim that I am correct is false, which would mean that I am correct. So unless you have a way to completely invalidate all fucking propositions and propositional logic, I don't understand.
No, I don't have to do that. Again, you didn't actually respond
If
to
you
my
don't
claim.
have to do
I'm
it,
talking-
then you
I'm
cannot
talking
tell
about
me
the levels-
exactly how
okay.
classic logic doesn't function.
I'm talking about the level. Okay, I'm talking about the levels of the burden of proof that we are each using. Okay, if
I don't care about the levels of burden.
okay, I don't. It doesn't matter because that was part of my original point. So if you don't care about it, you didn't respond to it.
Okay, sure.
The position
So
that
now
I
wanna
made
go
was
back-
the position I made was that even if I steelmanned you on that, my burden
Okay.
of proof would still dictate I'm 100% correct. But your own burden of proof doesn't even say you're 100% correct. So even if we did
it doesn't
nothing,
matter whether
even
I'm
if we did,
100%
okay,
correct.
Trini,
I
even if we
literally
did,
said
let me
from the
finish.
get-go
Let me finish.
that if
Let
I
me
even have
finish.
the most
Let me finish.
infinitesimal of a
Okay.
chance of being correct.
I'm gonna finish, okay, and then I'm gonna let you talk. Is that fine? Because I wasn't
Why'd you
done
mute
with my
me?
sentence yet.
Ooh, yikes. Okay, go ahead, buddy.
Okay, and I will mute myself if you want to talk, but do not
Nah,
cut
that's
me
cool.
off mid-sentence. I don't care if you interrupt me between sentences, but mid-sentence is a bit
Is
much.
this on recording, by the way?
Yes, it's being recorded.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay, so what I was going to say is that even if we continued to butt heads, and neither of us moved from this point, because you're refusing to move back even though I've presented rebuttals, using the argument I just presented, I would be more correct anyway. And that's best case scenario for you.
Oh, no, my thing is that even if you were to employ arguments, you're still using either logic, which doesn't determine truth value, or you're using epistemology, which is self-verifying, and you're telling me you can know things that you don't know.
I never made that position. I never ever made that position.
That is necessarily what is entailed by you
It isn't
saying that you can
necessarily
know the
entailed.
laws of thought are necessarily
isn't.
outside of you. Oh, okay, sure. Explain how.
I already explained this to you initially in my premise.
Okay, so I'm just gonna run it back one more time, okay? And just tell me at what point you disagree. Feel free to cut me off, okay? So what I'm saying is that epistemology is self-verifying. You agree with this, no?
Why?
Because the way we know things, or claim to know things rather, is completely dependent on whether we say those things are true.
And how do you know that?
I say it's true. I self-verify it.
Okay, and how do you know that?
I self-verify it.
And how do you know that?
You don't get what I'm saying by saying that epistemology is
Okay,
self-verifying.
I do understand what you're saying. It's just I don't have
Okay,
to
what am I
accept that's the
saying?
case
Wait,
as
wait.
part of your argument.
Well, no. I get that, but I'm saying you do understand this, yes?
I do understand it.
Okay, just repeat it back to me. What do you think I mean? Just to make
I think
sure.
that you mean that knowledge itself is proof of knowledge. So in order to actually demonstrate something
No, that's
is
not what I mean.
self-verified, it would be like, oh, there's the thing, I'm self-verifying it now because I know it. There. Now it's actually knowledge. Without that, it's not knowledge,
Sort of.
is what you're saying.
Well, we say it, and I mean we is just any
general
creature is
term.
claimed to have knowledge. Yeah. So any creature has ever claimed to have knowledge, at least as far as I'm aware. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But any creature that's ever claimed to have any knowledge says so on the basis of believing that they are correct. So anything that would ever say it has knowledge and really means it would only do so on the condition that they believe it. So I believe that
Sure.
fundamentally your epistemology is going to be a matter of self-verification. And so if this is the case and you agree with that first premise, then the second premise is that you, in accepting fucking I think therefore I am, means that you believe that there is something external to us, correct? There necessarily
Not
has to be.
necessarily.
You don't think so?
Saying I think therefore I am doesn't necessarily accept anything external, just me.
There has to be something for you to exist in.
Why?
Because there has to be something that has logic. No?
Why?
Okay. Would logic not in your own case apply to
You're kind of
existence?
refuting yourself right now, and also this is a derail. Let's just say sure. Let's just say
No,
sure
no,
because
no.
it's irrelevant.
Well, no, the reason I'm asking you specifically, and I'm speaking to my own epistemology, is literally because I understand that epistemology at its most fundamental is a matter of self-verification. I can't tell you what I think is known because it would be almost fucking
So
pointless.
this is going to come down to the same argument again, right? This is going to come down to the thing of I don't know what I don't know, right?
Yeah, and
and then I'm going to say the exact same fucking thing I've said 8 times, and then you're going to repeat yourself again. So why are we doing this?
Because it doesn't get any less true each time.
You didn't demonstrate it was not true, so that doesn't matter.
Well, how would you know what you don't know?
How would you know what you don't know?
Okay. Well, I would know what I don't know with respect to just knowing that I don't know certain things. Because
you're talking about just knowing that you don't know it.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can say about things I don't know. But that's
okay. So you dodged what I said then.
Well, what did you ask? I'm sorry if I didn't.
I'm asking you the same thing that you're asking me, correct? So
yeah, I'm saying
whether I actually know something I do not know, not whether I'm aware of the things I don't know.
The weird part is that even your own understanding of what knowledge is incorrect. But
okay, well, you haven't refuted my position yet, so that's fine.
Well,
if you think that.
No. Your position is refuted by the fact that it's hinged on whether you believe in this or not.
I just proved that you committed ad nauseum again. So do you have a new argument, or are you going to repeat that one again? Because I'm not responding to that argument again.
I mean, if you don't want to respond, I'll just
I already rebutted it, so that's fine.
Well, saying you rebutted it doesn't mean your argument stands.
Okay,
you know that, right?
Yes, it does, actually. Burden of rejoinder.
Okay, but I'm repeating, so I don't understand.
Yeah, it's ad nauseum, I know. Therefore, I win due to burden of rejoinder. I know how it works.
Okay, how? Wait, where's the burden of rejoinder?
Burden of rejoinder comes with burden of proof. If I have burden of proof, you have burden of rejoinder. So if I make a claim...
I want you to define the burden of rejoinder.
Okay, if I make a claim, or if I say something, right, that is in a response to what you said, and you don't respond to that with a unique position, like if you repeat your premise that I responded to, then you have lost that point because you haven't.
Where are you getting this definition from?
I'm just giving my own definition. Do you want me to read it to you verbatim?
Okay, then why the fuck do I give a fuck about your fucking definition?
Do you want me to give it to you verbatim? It means the same thing either way.
Dude, then I can just play the fucking semantics game too. Okay. I noticed how you had to
both sides have the burden of rejoinder, meaning they must answer the relevant arguments of their opponents to keep the debate progressing. So
I'll go ahead and I'll try and help you out a little bit, okay?
Oh my god, I literally just read you the definition. If you aren't going to actually respond to my rebuttal, okay, this is what it comes down to, okay? If you think that I haven't defeated your argument of I don't know what I don't know, that's fine. You can think that. I have responded to that. I'm not responding to it again.
Talking about
it's a waste of time.
And you can say it's a waste of time.
It is a waste of time because I responded to it already. Whether you think I didn't or not is irrelevant. It's recorded.
Oh, yikes. You're mad, dude. So all I'm
wasting my time. Are we going to go to conclusions now, or are you going to come up with a new argument?
No, because the argument itself
if you're not going to do either of those, I'm going to make my conclusion now, and we are done.
How do you justify a true belief of something you don't know?
Okay, ad nauseum.
That's the exact same thing I said before. That's uniquely different.
It's not different. It's the same argument you've been presenting this entire time.
That's the exact same argument I just presented.
Yes. You've been presenting that argument this entire time. We haven't moved off it this whole time. Do you have a new argument or not?
Yeah. That was the new argument.
If you have a new argument, present it.
Different. That was the distinctively different argument.
It wasn't different. It was the same position.
Okay.
Are we moving on or not?
What is knowledge? Do you remember the definition of knowledge?
Yes.
Just double checking.
Okay. Are you going to go back to this same position again?
Wait. No. I'm asking, do you remember what the definition of knowledge is?
I don't have to answer that. You've been committing ad nauseum
constantly. You don't have
constantly.
to answer anything.
No, I don't.
You also don't have to win, and that's okay.
I am winning,
but
so
what
it doesn't matter.
I am winning. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm asking, how
if you're asking me something I don't care, you're obligated to present evidence.
How is it that you could justify any belief of something beyond the parameters of your own self-verifying epistemology?
Ad nauseum.
This isn't just an ad nauseum, but if you want to say that, that's okay.
It isn't just an ad nauseum, but it is an ad nauseum. You agree? Okay, very good.
Yeah, it's like talking to a child. You have to tell a dyslexic kid.
So you are admitting that you're committing ad nauseum, therefore it's fallacious.
Yeah, it's like talking to a retarded kid. You know what I mean? Like when you're teaching a kid to write his own name.
That's a cool argument, Trini. I'm sure everybody listening will agree with
that. It's a very cool argument.
Are we going to go to conclusions now? If you think that I haven't...
Why do you keep jumping to conclusions? Why do you keep jumping to conclusions?
Trini, this is how it goes, okay? If you really think you've won based on that, you should be happy to go to conclusions, right?
Well, no, I want you to understand. Here's my thing.
Okay,
Right?
I do understand that you're committing ad
No,
nauseum,
you
and I've
don't.
called you out on it repeatedly.
If you understood
Okay.
why exactly you're wrong, I feel as though you'd have a good perspective.
I understand this position better than you do, and I think I've demonstrated that pretty well.
You did not demonstrate it. What you answered with was
okay,
effectively...
that's both based on our subjective opinion. Yes, you could say that too.
So this is just both subjective. Okay.
That thing I just said is subjective, yes. Not my entire position.
Okay.
We obviously both are currently believing we've represented our sides better. Are we? Okay.
You have yet to answer a couple of
things,
right?
I don't have to answer anything.
Sure,
a question is
if
not
you don't
a
think you don't
position
have
or a
to,
response.
that is okay. Actually, it is.
No,
it's
it isn't.
Implicitly a response. It
no,
is implicitly
it isn't.
a response.
By response, I mean
yes,
a valid debunk. A question is you trying to gather more information.
Valid, what do you mean by
debunk?
valid?
Something that does debunk it.
What is a true debunk?
Something that does debunk or refute the position.
According to what?
According to any form of logic. Asking a question is not something that's a valid
not true.
response.
Not according to predicate logic, not according to first order logic, not according to quantum logic. So what the fuck are you talking about?
I just explained what I'm talking about.
You are mere... No. You said any form of logic. That's already incorrect. Predicate logic says otherwise.
Yeah, any form of logic is in any one form of logic. Not as in any form of logic together.
Are you talking about then? What form of logic are you talking about?
Classical logic.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. That's literally detailed in Aristotle's works. This is irrelevant anyway, because you still...
Wait, no.
This is completely irrelevant.
You have a problem with the way I'm debating.
I can answer it for you when the debate is done. Okay, are you going to conclude? I'm going to serve you now, because you keep committing ad nauseum. If you're not going to make a conclusion, don't bother saying anything. I am going to conclude because you keep committing ad nauseum. I'm not obligated to respond to. Okay? So anything you want to say in your conclusion that is a valid conclusion is fine. I'm going to make my conclusion now. Okay. I demonstrated why the law of identity is self-evident and that no argument that could be presented could possibly exist without the law of identity itself. And then I also demonstrated why it's presuppositional or before knowledge. As in, you have to presuppose it in order to even have knowledge in the first place. Trini did not present anything that debunked this position and committed ad nauseum. Therefore, I won due to burden of rejoinder. You can make your conclusion now.
Okay. So, Parrot muted me a few times, and that's okay. I understand why. Sometimes he gets his panties in a bunch, and that's fine.
Okay, if this is a part of your conclusion, then I'm just gonna not give you one.
Oh my god, dude, you're so fucking worried. Come on, you gotta calm down a little bit.
Hurry up.
I'm bored. Then get the fuck out of the call, pussy.
I'm waiting for you to conclude because I'm being nice, and you're
get
trying
the fuck
to insult me during the
whether
conclusion.
Dog, whether you were here or not, I can commit my conclusion.
Are you going to make your conclusion or not? This is your opportunity.
Are you going to interrupt me?
Yes, you just insult me and it's nothing to do with your conclusion.
What?
Yes.
I didn't just insult you. I was merely stating the facts.
Okay, you did only present it as an insult. It was irrelevant to your conclusion. Go ahead and make your conclusion.
Well, actually, it was very relevant to my conclusion.
Are you going to conclude?
My conclusion is that I won. Whoa, oh my god, interrupting again. Okay. I just said my conclusion is that I won on the basis, and this is what I completely affirm it on, the fact that Parrot was stumbling, he was stuttering. I think you can laugh, but notice how you won't fucking talk to me anymore. I'm bored. I don't want to talk anymore. I take all of these as signs of Parrot not being able to handle it. He wanted to debate. He was very angsty, and you could tell, and that's okay. But, I mean, as far as the arguments go, he literally couldn't justify to me how exactly he knows things which he does not know. Knowledge here defined as justified in true belief. And the point I was making to Parrot was very simple. If you have limited knowledge, which we accepted, we both understand we have limited knowledge, and that's okay, right? And we both understand that epistemology, which is how you gather truth or how you attempt to gather truth, not logic, so logic is almost completely independent in terms of really fucking truth finding, then it is the case that Parrot must have went with something that dealt with epistemology. And so I lobbed a criticism of epistemology, and my criticism was, if all epistemology is self-verifying, if every method by which we gather knowledge is self-verifying, there's no way and no how by which we can say, oh, we can know things which we don't know. You cannot justify things as true which you are incapable of justifying as true statements. It's oxymoronic. It's contradictory. That's the direct negation of what's happening. So, by no measure, by no standard, could Parrot explain to me in any significant manner besides muting me and complaining that I was telling him something that was very obvious. Much in the same way how you ask a kid named Johnny to fucking spell his name. Precisely in what way we could say we know things which we don't know. And specifically, what we don't know here is all the possibilities, or if there even is possibility. And the fact that there could be a possibility or a lack thereof is just a set of possibilities, right? And if that's the case, then Parrot could not offer a proper defeater to any of the things I said. The proper defeater to any of the things I could have said was, well, you might have a real reason there, but I gotta say that it just makes more sense that these things are just more likely to be correct. And he tried to go down that route, but it didn't work very well. So in short, Parrot doesn't know what he doesn't know. There's no way he could know all the possibilities and know exactly how any of these possibilities would support him, whether they may disregard him. Parrot doesn't understand predicate logic, first order logic, or quantum logic, and Parrot didn't understand anything about what knowledge actually is. Parrot is about as sophomoric as they come. And hopefully I get this recording without any editing because I want to hear him stuttering the whole fucking time. Okay, I'm done. Do you want to do a second